My name is Mehul. I'm co-founder and CEO of FloCareer. And let me just start, with responding to the questions that I'm seeing here on the group. I see the question here from Amrita around, I'm a housewife and a new mom. How can I start a part-time job? So the good part is that the gig economy is very much active in India now. This is the economy where you don't have to work full time. You can work part time or as a freelancer. And depending on your background, you can always find such opportunities. So there are websites like freelancer.com. There are also our own website, FloCareer. We provide opportunity to a lot of people to work as a freelancer, to conduct interviews. So if you have relevant experience in any field, you can reach out to us. You can go to freelancer.com. And these are the kind of companies which will provide you a lot of opportunities to work from home at your own convenient time, and have that flexibility. But just a bit of caution: be very careful about a lot of other places like in a Facebook and such, where they send you an emails that work part-time and earn this much money and things like that. Don't fall for such things. Make sure you are going to an appropriate website and register as a part-timer or as a freelancer. That will help you to find the opportunity that is appropriate for you. And as far as FloCareer is concerned, my own startup, you can reach out to me anytime, and we'll guide you on that. Then I have a question from Priyanka, and that one is about the inevitable talk about your weakness interview question. So being authentic here is really, really critical. And I mean, everybody understands that, nobody is perfect. So don't shy away to find something from your own personality. Ask probably your best friends, because most of the time people are not even aware about their own weaknesses. If you are aware about your weaknesses, you're already half battle is already won. So you need to figure out which are the areas which you really require to strengthen, and have an authentic answer around it. There's a lot of material on the web also to figure this out. You just search these things, and then you will be able to find some of the areas. Like there are personality types, right? There are introvert versus extrovert. So if you are introvert, for example, you can say that, hey, by nature I'm introvert, but when it comes to the work, when it comes to the professionalism, I always try to make sure that I go an extra mile and reach out to other colleagues and other people in my team or across the team and things like that. So look at your own personality type, be authentic, and give an honest answer, and you will stand out. So that's one of the ways to answer that question. Also, search on the Google about difficult interview questions, and you will come across a lot of such questions, and you can prepare for those in advance. Okay, so one of the questions that I'm already seeing a lot is around a typical funnel. How many applicants are there how many applicants are there for a given job posts? How do you differentiate yourself compared to all other applications out there, right? And on that note, what I can say is that typically you would see, depending on the kind of jobs, right? Always the niche jobs, you have less number of applicants. More common job openings, you will see a large number of applicants. But a typical number for an IT job is around 100 applications per per job opening, and almost 70 out of 100 are rejected based on the resume. Now, there's a reason for that, why that happens. Most of the time, the job applicants would go and apply for every single job that they see available, even though they are not relevant, right? So the first thing to do is to make sure that you only apply for the jobs which are more relevant to you. Let me give you a specific example. Let's say you are a Python developer and you are relatively a fresher, and you, let's say you have a 6 months of experience or 1 year of experience under your belt, and the job description clearly says 3 to 7 years of experience. Just because the Python kind of a keyword matches, you go ahead and apply, and you know that this is gonna, not gonna work out. But if you still believe that for some reason you would like to still apply, then put that reason in your resume itself. In your resume, there is an objective section at the very top. Now, in that section, instead of just keeping it empty, or keeping it, copying it from a typical standard description, you make sure that you put this specific reasons that, hey, I understand that this opening requires a 3 years of experience, but because of my academic experience plus 1 year of experience that I have under my belt, I feel confident that I can work for these. Highlight why you would like to go, why are you applying for this particular job opening, and that would help you to distinguish yourself at the very beginning. So somehow, showcasing why you are applying for this job, and instead of just clicking every single opportunity that you see on any website, would be the first way, of making sure that your resume at least goes to the table of the HR or the hiring team. That's number one. Number two, there is a concept called purple cow. So you go around, let's say you are going through a bus journey or you are driving around a car, you will see a lot of cows around, right? But you don't notice them unless, of course, they are a hurdle, in the traffic. But for some reason, if there is a cow colored purple, you will notice that because that's different. So in your own application, in your own resume, always make sure that you, in addition to resume, you are adding something else. For example, you can have a 1-minute pitch about yourself and you can put it on YouTube or whichever mechanism you find, and add that to your resume. At the beginning of the resume, you put that URL. Here is my 1-minute pitch. That helps a lot to the hiring company to have a look at your body language, your communication, and so on and so forth, and you will distinguish yourself. If you are into the programming jobs, make sure that you have a GitHub account, and all the programs that you are practicing at home, you upload those programs on your GitHub account. So that's how you are able to showcasing your abilities. On that note, at my startup FloCareer, we have an ability to get yourself pre-interviewed by an industry expert. So let's say you are a Java developer. We'll make sure a third-party independent Java developer interviews you, and you have that video recorded interview that you can submit along with your resume. That's one of the ways to differentiate yourself. Okay, I have another question here. What are the key points you have to look for in the job description while applying for a job? So that's a good question. In the job description, you have to see that the relevancy, whatever are your strengths, right, and whatever is described in the job description. Now the truth is, most of the times, even the HR, copy paste the job description from somewhere else and puts it to the particular job opening. So at the beginning, there is like a more of a generic requirement. I want a combination of Superman and Wonder Woman and this and that, right? You can skip to the key responsibilities part of the job description and focus on those things. Do you have right set of abilities to match at least 60 to 70% of those requirements? So focus on those, right? And then you will be able to know whether this matches your skill set or not. If there are few things here and there, everybody understands that there is never you will never find a perfect match, right? So if there are some mismatches, it's okay, but 2 to 3 critical points must be covered, and then only you apply. Always consider the uh, quality over quantity. You don't have to apply to 100 places to get a job, but you need to apply to a small set of uh, available job openings, and find your dream job. Okay, I have a couple of other questions here. Let me just go through those, and I will answer those. Should your answers in an interview be pertinent to the job or your previous work experience? Now, this, if you can always show a specific example from your previous work, it always helps. So instead of showcasing just the theoretical knowledge, if you have any relevant previous experience, you should highlight those. Now, if you don't have any specific experience, you can always talk about something related to that. Let's say, for example, I'm again coming back to, let me give you one technology example and one non-IT, right? So that we cover the breadth. Let's say, for example, you are giving a development, an interview for a developer, and they are asking you about the database performance, right? And let's say you have not actually worked on those, right? But you have worked on your application performance prior to in your prior experience. You can always highlight those. And, hey, I have not got an opportunity to work on directly on the database performance. However, in my previous work experience, there was a situation where we were not able to scale our application beyond 100 transactions per second or something along like that, right? And this is what we did as a team, because if you are a relatively junior candidate, it is possible that you might not have worked on the problem statements all by yourself. So it is okay to showcase that with my team, or with the help of my team leader, or with the help of my architect, I solved these and these problems, right? And this is how I contributed. It is not a negative thing if you say that I worked with my team, and you don't have to showcase that I did everything by myself, right? Always showcase that, okay, I worked with the team, because team player is what everybody is expecting, right? In non-tech, let's say there's a question, you are working as an accountant, there's a question around GST filing, and you have not worked on those, but you have worked on the TDS before, right? It's a larger group, not necessarily you have worked on every single type of filings and so on and so forth. And your focus in a CF firm was only on the TDS filing, right? So you can always say that, okay, these were the deadlines, this is how I worked, this is what I used to do. So I can apply the similar framework when it comes to GST also. And these are the pitfalls. I need certain data from the client before I can prepare my return, and always keep a gap of 3 to 4 days between the deadline and you collect all the data from the client, because you might have another iteration. So always elaborate on something similar that you have done before. That would help you to make sure that you are able to convey, instead of just saying, no, I haven't worked on those. Always come up with something that you have worked on and highlight those. Okay, I have a question from Deepika. She says that, how do you ensure that you get an interview call? I have applied for so many jobs, but not getting any response. Recruiter prefer to hire new joinees or someone who is coming through reference. What should a woman do who has taken 4 years of career break and coming from a non-IT background? Good question. So, as I mentioned before, if you are very specific about where you are applying and whether that has your matching or not. That is one critical thing. You need to highlight something that is different from just a resume. uh, I will put a link to one of the statistics infographics that we have in the group so that you can take a look at that. uh, so as you can see in that link, uh, we have almost 70% rejection at the resume level itself. Now, one of the ways you can differentiate is you can get yourself pre-interviewed, right? We do that on our platform at FloCareer platform. We have a collaboration with Jobs for Her also. So you can go in the reskilling section on Jobs for Her and see our offering of FloCareer. One of the key benefits we provide as part of that is you can get yourself interviewed by an industry expert who would be giving you star ratings from out of 5 stars on various skills. No matter what kind of background you have, we will find the relevant industry expert, get your interview done. That interview would be video recorded, and there would be a subjective description about how it went and things like that. And now you have an ability to forward that report along with your resume to wherever you are applying for a job. So that is one way to differentiate yourself. Instead of just sending a resume, you send your own interview link to the company. Another benefit of this approach is that on our platform, whenever the recipient of that application looks at your application, looks at your video interview, you will be notified. You will come to know that, okay, your interview or your profile has been viewed by the HR. As you have correctly mentioned here, right? You apply for so many jobs, but you have no idea what happens after that, right? It goes into a black hole. You have no idea, you apply to so many places, whether it is even read by the recipient, right? Here, you will come to know on what time and date, the HR has opened your application and looked at your interview and resume. So at least you get an idea that what kind of companies are at least opening your application, right? Who are looking at your resume, and then you can focus on those kind of companies, right? And that helps you a lot to decide where your focus should be. And believe me, there is a requirement from both ends. Even the companies are struggling to find right set of people. So maybe sometimes your expectations might be too high. You might be applying for a developer, QA and automation QA roles. You will be able to see that, okay, whenever I apply for the QA roles, they are always opening my resume, right? So that might give you a hint that that's the area where you should be focusing on. Okay, Akshata Nayak have a question here. I am from IT trying to get into writing. Also, I have a blog and I'm active on LinkedIn. While applying for content writing assignments, freelance, how do I make sure I stand out in a crowd? So if you have a blog and if that blog has certain statistics that you can showcase, go for it. Always highlight those things. Be driven by number, right? You can say that, hey, I have this blog about XYZ, whatever the things that you are writing about. And then you can mention that in your resume at the very beginning. So you can showcase in your resume whatever you want to highlight, right? And that would be one way to ensure that you are highlighting your strengths over there. Probably you can start, if you are from the IT background, you can start writing the reviews of certain IT products that is relevant for you, right? I'm not sure what kind of things you are writing in your blog, but if you are not doing that kind of reviews, feel free to do that, right? So you will be able to showcase that your writing skills combined with your IT background, how that can be useful to a company. Yeah, the question about, tell me something about yourself which is not on your resume, right? So there again, you can always talk about your hobbies and such. Again, try to stand out, be authentic. Something from your from your college time, something interesting that happened, and you talk about that, right? But hobbies will definitely help. You can probably omit hobbies from your resume, right? And then talk about it when this question is being asked, because yeah, I mean, as a fresher, you might want to put the hobbies, but if you have some experience behind your, under your belt, don't write about the hobbies on the resume, so that you have a chance to talk about it when they ask this particular question. So yeah, so there is a question from Gira Rastogi. Why is it so difficult to get back to work after sabbatical for non-technical women? Have researched so many back to work programs, but all but by IT companies. Why does it? Why does that happen? Hard for me to start afresh. How? What do I start? So first thing first, you need to understand that unfortunately, in India we have this mentality of scarcity, right? Mentality of scarcity means that there is not enough out there, and we have to be there to grab the right thing, right? That is how we always have traffic jams. If I have a 6 inch of space in front of me, I have to grab it, otherwise I'll not get it. That is why we break the queues and things like that. The same mentality reflects, unfortunately, even among employers, right? So the employers are saying that, okay, there are not good enough people, and I must go for the best of the best, which is matching all the basic requirements, all the require. As an example, you know I must have very precise previous work experience. They don't see whether the person has an ability to solve the problem, and that can be applied anywhere and everywhere. Instead, they go for a very, very specific match. That's one of the reasons. Also, when people think of the gap as a negative thing in India, for some reason there is still a stigma there, though slowly it is changing. And I'm glad that the platform like Jobs for Her is a catalyst to make that happen, right? So don't give up the hope. You have to stay positive on that, and keep approaching to various opportunities. If you can go through the referrals, that is the best. If you don't have a direct referral, LinkedIn is also an amazing place to get introduced through somebody, and you will be surprised what kind of connections you find there, right? So if you are having a non-IT background, and if you can write a little bit more about your precise background, that will always help. But you can even if it's a non-IT background, there are a lot of companies which is now willing to take women back to work if you can prove your credentials, right? So no need to give up on that. Don't worry about a specific program. You go for the application, and you highlight somewhere in your resume at the very beginning that this was the gap, this is the reason, but I am capable for the work. Okay, a question from Anu. I just finished my graduation in June. Due to lack of experience, I am always wondering how to make an employer hire me. Can you please suggest how to make my resume stand out from the person who possibly has some experience? I want to switch fields, and I don't know how to make an employer understand the reason for my switch. So after graduation, if you have some gap, right, for whatever reason you are not able to get a job and you have some gap, you need to figure out that is there an expectation mismatch, right? So you don't have the real real work experience under your belt. You might be applying for something which you might not have the exact skill set for those, right? How do you figure that out, right? How would you know what you don't know, right? Having a good mentor would be a good idea. Again, from your relevant field where you are applying for the job, if you get yourself interviewed by an expert through our platform, that might be a one solid way Because if you ask your friends or your relatives, they would have some preconceived notions about you. They know you. uh, Here an independent third party will be able to judge your abilities, and also they will guide you, you know which kind of jobs you should apply for. That's number one. Number two, you always prepare yourself in your targeted job category. And when I say prepare yourself, just don't do some courses. Produce yourself something. If you are a programmer, write programs. If you are a content writer, write some content. There is a difference between a producer and a consumer. 90% of the time, 90% of the people are consumers of content. You will watch a video that is published by somebody else on YouTube. You will read your WhatsApp and Facebook and LinkedIn, and whatever the content that is being thrown at you, you just consume, consume, consume. Instead, if you become a producer, right, in whatever the relevant field that you are working in, produce something and showcase that. That has the value. People will value that a lot, because that's what employers are looking for. You produce something for them, right? When you join the company, they will give you the task, and you become a producer. But hey, can you do that without anybody asking you? That's when you will be able to differentiate. Okay, so there is a follow-up question by Akshata about uh, writing the review of the products. It would be great if you can mention what kind of product reviews. Any pointers would help. Sure. So let's say, for example, pick any particular domain that you have a relatively good experience, or it's related to you. It can be as simple as smartphones. A lot of people are into smartphones, so if you can just write some reviews, you will have some kind of specific kind of phone. Your friends would be buying new type of phones. Uh, you ask them to use it for a few hours, and then you write about those, and put your opinions. Okay, for a given pricing, these are the kind of features that a smartphone is providing. Is it worth it or not? you know or instead of saying it is worth it or not, might be very direct. It might not be such objective all the time. But you can compare maybe side by side a couple of things, and give your opinion. uh, you might take any other electronic product, such as, let's say, vacuum cleaner, as a random example, right? There's a Dyson vacuum cleaner, which helps a lot for the allergies. So look for the problem around you. And from that you might come up with something always, right? Lot of women here in Jobs for Her are new moms, and when you are a new mom, you will also come across a lot of products. Uh, you know, uh, let's say, for example, the kids in getting cough and cold, and you have this vaporizers, right? Humidifiers. You can write a review about that. There are multiple type of humidifiers available in the market, and you yourself must have done a research, right? So put it on the paper. Write a few paragraphs on that, and you can describe your own journey. Hey, I came across these different kind of humidifiers, and I believe this is the best because it's easy to clean. It is blah blah blah, whatever are the parameters, right? As simple as thermometer, right? There are digital thermometers. There are like old-fashioned mercury-based thermometers, and so on. So the question is, how do you uh, choose what is the best for you? What are the pros and cons for each? Digital are easiest to measure, but sometimes the accuracy is not so good. Whatever are the those things, you can write about those. So yeah, Bhuvneshwari has a question about the present, how much the presentation and body language and personality development, etc., during the interview. So my personal opinion is that do not worry so much about that makes you conscious. You're at the minimal. Remember the fact that the companies also need good people as much as you need jobs. So as far as you are able to convey the message that you are right fit for the job that they are looking for, right? To get it done, that's enough. All this depends on the, the kind of jobs also, right? If you are applying for an, air hostess, it's a different thing, but that is a very small category of jobs, right? So if you are working for any other, IT or non-IT jobs, which is kind of a more of a quote unquote back office, you don't have to worry so much on the body language and other things. Having said that, basic confidence should be there, right? There's a very good TED talk on that how to make sure, and it's not just to show off the presentation. It is truly internalizing it, right? Feeling really good, and being confident. Uh, I will probably later on after the live session here, I'll reply to your comment and put a link to the TED talk, which talks about this basic things. There were some very very simple rules to go through it. Just I remember one very quickly, so I'll go through that before I read other questions. Just making sure that you just like spread your hands above your head, and that will make you feel really good. If you see people who are a little stressed out and so on, they will try to like you know become like more contained by themselves. Just spread your hands and have a deep breath, relax, and don't worry about the body language and such things. You have a basic presentation, you should go professionally and all those things, some basic things, but spending too much of your mental energy on those is not worth it. Okay, during a career break internship of a few months, it really helped to get a job in some other company. Do they consider this an experience for their role? Uh, let me just read the question because I don't. During a career break internship. Okay. So you are having an internship during a break. There's nothing wrong about it. You can specify that it's an internship. It was an internship. You can always explain why you chose that. You had a break, and you were not quite ready for the full-time job yet. Meanwhile, an internship opportunity came along the way. So instead of just going 100% on a full-time job, internship, I had a limited exposure, and I was able to balance my work life better. You can always explain it like that, and again be authentic on it, and you should be fine. Deepika has another question with regard to my first question. Please specify whom can I contact for an interview recording. I'm not aware of this. Okay. So what you can do is here on the Jobs for Her platform itself, you can go to reskilling section and go to the expert services. You can go to reskilling and expert services, and there you will be able to find an offering from FloCareer. You can look at those and reach out to anybody from Jobs for Her. You can showcase there that you are interested in that, and somebody from Jobs for Her would contact you for more discussion around the same. Okay. Another question is that how can you include your career break to your advantage for the new role? You can always say that you are a responsible person, and it depends why you had a career break, right? You had a career break because, for example, your spouse went to out of country where you were not allowed to work. The work permit was only given to your spouse, or you had a career break because of your wedding, and you had to relocate. Or because of the pregnancy and the kids, right? So you have to showcase that while you had to take the career break because of any of these reasons, and you wanted to have a proper work-life balance, you are also a career-oriented person, right? So showcase that, and mention that, okay, at different point of time I have a different priorities, so I had to address certain priorities. Now I am ready to get back to work, and I'm also very much I don't want to do the job for the heck of doing the job. I want to do the job to make sure that I have a decent career, with me. Uh, and women has this wonderful abilities to play these multiple hats better than men, in my opinion. So you can always say that, okay, while family was or certain circumstances were the reason I had to take a break, you know now I'm ready to get back to the work, and what are my priorities, what kind of career I'm looking for. Always go after the career and not just the job, right? So I think with that, we can probably conclude this Q&A session. Let me see if one last time if there is any question. Otherwise, I think we are way beyond our 30 minutes that we scheduled. But feel free to comment here on the group if you have more questions. I would answer those, and yep, we'll take it from there. If you have any more questions, make sure that okay. There's one more question from Ritu. I think what I will do is I'll reply to that in the comment, so that we can conclude at least this recording, and I'll take it from there. Thanks a lot. Good luck to you all, and stay positive, and definitely remember that the companies need you as much as you need a job. Thanks.